So I'm gonna kick us off real quick. This talk is based off of an article that I just wrote this weekend, and so it's called Mirror Mirror. And there's an age-old proverb, it's a couple thousand years old, about looking in the mirror and forgetting one's true self upon walking away. And it's the proverb says, there's a person that looks into a mirror and then walks away and forget what kind of person that person is, what kind of person he is. And we do that. We all do that. We look in a mirror. We remember who we are, and I want us to think about what we use a mirror for and how we might use a mirror in different areas of our life, and how valuable and how essential and how important it is to have a mirror. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you didn't have a mirror? Right? Even just going a day without a mirror or a long time. And we think it's like, well, it's kind of a luxury. It just helps me look a certain way, but we use mirrors for all sorts of things. And some interesting things happen when we look into a mirror. So the introspection that can be akin to gazing into a transformative mirror. So that's what mirrors do. Mirrors do two things. They tell us what is, but they also remind us of what should be. That's the purpose of looking to a mirror, is not just to know what is, but to recognize what is not what should be, and so I need to change. Dancers use mirrors, right? People in the gym working out use mirrors. Sometimes it's a vain thing. I just want to look at my pumped up muscles, but it's also, is my form good? Am I becoming the person that I want to be? So even when I'm looking at those pump up muscles, I've got a visual picture of who I want to be physically, and that mirror helps me to know how close am I? Am I moving towards that? All right, so that's the visual mirror. But we also use mirrors in lots of different ways. There's other things that, even staying in that physical space. When we step onto a scale, right, it's telling us what is, and we're comparing that to what we want it to be. And what does that do then for us? We're like, wait, there's a gap between what is and what should be. So what does it do? It says, oh, I'm not there yet. I need to implement a strategy. But it also does another thing. It inspires me, and it gives me the motivation to now go and pursue hard things. Data shows, research shows, one of the number one correlations to successful weight loss and health is weighing yourself every day. All right. So when we weigh ourselves every day, we're reminded of what our goal is, what the ideal is. We're also reminded of what our gap is, and then that fills us with the inspiration that that's where I want to be. So I'm going to go that way. I'm going to say no to toast and cereal at breakfast, and instead I'm going to eat eggs, plain eggs, just plain eggs. Or I'm going to skip breakfast altogether. Right. So those are the things that happen when we look into the mirror. Using the mirror, there's a notable research study. It was actually an experiment back in the 1970s, and it was a Halloween candy experiment. They put out a bowl of candy, and they put a message that says, "Please take just one." All right, and they wanted to study. They wanted to study how many kids then took more than just one, and the percentage in that particular study was about 28% of the kids took more than one. Like, well, that's probably not too bad. About a third. About a third of the kids took more. They were dishonest. They stole candy. All right, so now here comes the experiment part. Now they put a mirror right next to the bowl of candy. Just simply putting a mirror next to the bowl of candy, so that as you reach in that bowl of candy, you see yourself as you're reaching in to grab that candy. What do you think happened? Not zero, but it went down to 14%, cut in half. Half as many kids took or stole, were dishonest. Simply just by seeing a picture of themselves reaching into that candy, they're reminded a little bit more about who they are, right? It wasn't anything super profound, right? Next experiment, in that same experiment, they now added to the mirror, had the kid say their name out loud. My name is this. And it went down from 14 down to 9%, so almost another half again. That's right. So here's the power that using a mirror and remembering who we are has on our behaviors in the moment. When we remember who we are, right, well, that's the ideal self, and we see who we are right now, it It gives us strategy, it gives us clarity, but it also gives us motivation. Wait, I'm not that person that's about to take more. I remember who I am, and I'm going to behave the way that I know I should in this moment, whether it be an ethical thing or whether it be performance, whether it be relational or just strategic in pursuing those things. Right. So really cool, right? Very, very powerful what we have in the mirrors. And I want to extend this now into other things, what we have available to us as mirrors. Even in the physical space, right on the wall, we have a thermostat, okay? The thermostat has 2 numbers on there. You know what those 2 numbers are? One number is the thermometer. It's telling you what is. And the other number is part of the thermostat, which is telling you the set point. It's called the set point. It's the ideal. Here's what I want to be. I want to be at 72 degrees. And then here's what it actually is, a thermometer saying, oh, it's 74 degrees. So what does that control system do with that information? It says the actual, 74, is not the ideal, 72. So I need to go turn on the air conditioner. And I leave that air conditioner turned on until the actual comes in alignment with the set point, all right? So that's what it means when we look into a mirror, or the scripture says when we look into the perfect law of liberty, continually on a perpetual basis, we remember what manner of person that we are. And now we can basically live a life that pursues character and the fruit of the Spirit so that we can walk those things out and become that ideal self. So we see this in our cruise control. This is called control systems theory. This is what engineers and electronics people do all the time in control system. Our cruise control in our car is doing the same thing, where it's measuring the actual, what's coming on the speedometer, what's your set point, and it knows to change those things. All right, so if there's 2 key takeaways then that we take from this. One, I need to know who I am, who I want to be. That's really the truth, because this is where the power is. The power in that is not in the thermometer, all right? But the thermometer is essential, right? The power is in the thermostat, the set point, because that's the one that's connected to the power of the air conditioner. All right, so the real power in our life is knowing who we should be, because we connect that to things like grace or things like faith. And if you're a person of faith, it connects you to God's grace. But it certainly connects us into our motivations and things when we know that ideal, and then we couple that with our actual. So if you don't have personal dashboards in your life, I'd encourage you to consider adding some of those. Those are the spaces in our life, whether it be in our fitness, our nutrition, our relationships, in our business, that we are measuring what our actual self is and comparing that to our vision or our goal and our ideals. All right. Mirror, mirror on the wall. All right. Keep looking in the mirror and remember who you are. Thank you.